Hi, I'm Meshea.
Hi, I'm Peggy.
And we are Hitting the Road in Mississippi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first podcast for Hitting the Road in Mississippi. And we are so very excited to be doing this. I'm excited. I'm Meshea, and I am here with Miss Hit the Road herself, Peggy Brown. And I am so honored. Thank you, Peggy, for letting me do this with you.
Meshea, thank you for wanting to do this with me. I'm excited. I just think it's going to be fun. Thank you for being a partner in crime.
I am your partner in crime.
Yes, you are.
I'm definitely your partner in hitting the road.
In Mississippi.
In Mississippi.
Yeah.
And what we want to do with this first podcast is just kind of explain to you kind of the who, what, when, wheres of all of it. We kind of want to explain what we mean by hitting the road in Mississippi and why we came to want to do this to begin with, how our lives have come to this point.
And you're probably asking why we're doing this. There's so much talent in Mississippi. Music talent, creative talent in all the arts. And Meshea and I are particularly interested in the music part of it. And I've wanted to do this for some time because I've had the opportunity to be around so many talented musicians, as I'm saying, and they all have a story. And everybody in this world has a story. And I just think stories are so very interesting. And a lot of these musicians have really cool stories. And so I just want us to be able to tap into that and to let you guys know some of the fun stuff that we know about these musicians. Not just what you hear when they play or what you hear when they sing, but what's behind that creative talent that they like to share with us. So I'm excited about that part. I want to hear the stories, but I want you guys to hear the stories too.
Absolutely. And of course, so many people from around the world are hitting the road in Mississippi.
Exactly.
We have the blues trail markers. We have the country music trail markers. We have the literary trail markers.
Exactly.
The civil rights trail markers. The Mounds trail markers.
Yes.
We have the Natchez Trace. We
Yes.
have some ocean type markers. We have all the food in Mississippi that people come for.
Mm-hmm.
And while I have a history, a background too, in wanting to tell everyone's stories, and I'm very interested in understanding how blues evolved into everything that it is, the part that hits me is that everyone that's in the United States as a whole, and Mississippi, of course, we came from all over the world anyway. Mm-hmm. And so we are a melting pot. Mm-hmm. But particularly here in the South, I believe all the arts, the music, the literature, everything that's here in the South, it happened because there were a few haves and a lot of have-nots.
Exactly.
And the have-nots became repressed. They didn't get to use their voice.
Exactly.
And I think these arts evolved from their voice.
Exactly.
And then when it became the blues, then as I understand it, there was a great migration.
There was a great migration. And a lot of our talent moved away, particularly straight up towards Chicago. So that would have included Memphis, St. Louis, then Chicago, because there were more opportunities for people to have jobs, to have houses, places to live, because Mississippi being one of the poorest states still, mm-hmm. They were back then, and because of the oppression. And so people left particularly for that, because in those other places they weren't oppressed.
Right. Mm. So I feel like when they did that migration out, the world started hearing what Mississippi had put together, mm-hmm. To voice what they hadn't been able to say, mm-hmm. through their art, through their songs. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like now so many of them have come back, and the world got exposed to Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And Mississippi has now capitalized on that. Mm-hmm. And so the world is coming to Mississippi to experience it here in Mississippi. That's why all of these trails exist in Mississippi.
Right.
And that's why on any given day, you can stop anywhere in Mississippi and there are people from all around the world here hitting the road in Mississippi. So I want the stories of the people in Mississippi and how all of it came to be, but I love the stories of the people that are coming here too, because
Like why they're coming.
why are they coming and what are they getting from it?
What are they getting from it?
Because I think then the people whose stories are being heard,
Mm-hmm.
I think they would love to know what the people are getting.
Exactly.
Because I think it makes it all worthwhile then.
Exactly.
So I think while the people who are coming want the experience and want to know the stories, and the people want to share them,
Mm-hmm.
I think the people who have lived all of this, or who their ancestors have lived it, and they're they're following in their footsteps now. You know, my great granddaddy did this, so I'm carrying on and I'm singing it and playing it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll want to hear how it's impacting the people that are coming. So
Right.
I think the exchange of the stories is a big deal.
I think the exchange of the stories is a big deal.
Yeah. So I'm excited about all of that too. So I enjoy hearing both sides of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had the opportunity lately, particularly through the event that our Blue Society does on Monday nights at Blue Monday, to ask some people why they're coming, people that are from other countries and other states.
Right.
And that's really fun to know that they actually maybe have put their own tour together to hit the road in Mississippi, and they're following the trails. But why did you want to come? And a lot of that is, I want to see where this music started.
Yes.
And I want to see where the people live that actually started the music that I care about. So that's part of it, but there's always a fun story to hear why somebody winds up here.
I can't wait until we share the video with the families that are doing the homeschooling.
Right.
They're hitting the road in Mississippi because they homeschool, and so they're teaching their children by going through Mississippi. But tell the folks just a little bit, we don't want to ruin the video, just a little bit of how their experience at Blue Monday was for them.
They came early, and I mean real early, and staked out some tables, which was a good idea. And then they stayed until after it was over. And the kids wanted to talk to the musicians and just tell them they appreciated them playing. And there was a sketch artist there, and so they wanted to see his sketches that he had done of the musicians they were watching. And I think he'd also sketched the kids, the teenagers
Isn't
that were in the
wonderful?
family. It was awesome. And so one of the fathers in the group, said to a couple of the musicians afterwards, "This is the best time we have had on their whole trip." And they've been on the road for 6 months already.
Yeah. And Mississippi.
And so they had the best time and loved the musicians and loved the talent and all the different people. And so that's what we want to be about, is
Right. Yeah. So when we bring you that interview, we're going to couch that in some storytelling of our own. So I can't wait to bring you that interview. So we're going to bring you the artist, and we're going to bring you stories in Mississippi, but we're going to bring you the people that are coming to Mississippi too, and what they're experiencing, because we feel like y'all want to know that too, because we're all proud of Mississippi, and we want to see how people are reacting to it. So, So how did you get to this point in your life, Peggy, that you want to do this? How did Peggy Brown hit the road Peggy Brown? Not the long version, but just just a little bit, because we're going to do a long version of that. How did you become Peggy Brown hitting the road in Mississippi now to do this?
Well, it just came at a time in my life when I was changing from what I had been doing, and I'd been a mother and raised my kids, and had worked in a couple of medical practices for a really long time, and my life just began to change. And once I took as the story goes, took the cork out of the bottle, the genie just popped out, and we couldn't stuff me back in. And it was the music. It was the music that I began to go listen to live music. That's the only way to do it, is to experience the live music of Mississippi. And in doing that, I began to understand some of what these musicians were about, and I began to hear their stories. And it was just from that, it was like I was hooked, totally hooked. And I thought, I have a friend from the UK, Mike Stevenson, who writes for Blues and Rhythm magazine, and when he comes over, he comes to stay, and I have hooked him up with artists to interview for his magazine, and I'm enamored to sit there and listen to how these people got started and who's in their family and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Hit the Road developed before that, even before I met Mike. I chose that name for my business because I wanted the musicians that I was working with to hit the road as much as I wanted to hit the road as well, going to listen to them play. And I have felt along and along that if a person who is visiting here can love the music that they've heard on a CD or whatever, but when they come and meet the artist that they're listening to who's playing up on that stage, they get the opportunity to meet them, then the music means even more. And so if you don't get a chance to actually meet that artist, that's part of what I want us to do, is in telling their stories. You're going to get to meet that artist, whether you've met them face to face, and then maybe that'll make you want to come and hit the road in Mississippi so you can meet the people that we're talking about.
Right. And of course you've got like 17, 18 years now experience managing, being a booking agent, events coordinator. I mean, you've got so much experience working with the blues societies and the international blues competitions. And the list goes on and on and on, folks. And so it's a whole page full. Yeah. The list goes on and on.
We won't do the whole page full, but yes, I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of these really special folks, and to go to the events and being backstage, which is absolutely that's addictive, and to experience people in the audience experiencing the musicians that I've gotten on a particular show. And so that has been, as I said, addictive. And I've had experience in putting on events that people can come to, or scheduling, even putting together a couple of bands to go play at a particular festival. And then in the part of promoting these people that I want to get booked, that also piqued my interest in, I just want people to know who they're getting the privilege of listening to.
Yeah.
And so it's not just King Edward who I managed. It's not just that you get to listen to him playing, but that you understand where he came from to be making the music that he's making. So that's part of why I think that this is important. It's not just about my company, Hit the Road. This is not to promote my company, but I just want to be able to explain that now that I've done all of this stuff, which has been mostly fun and blessing.
Yeah. Mostly.
Mostly. I want to share the personalities.
Right.
With other people. So I just want to share with other people about what I've gotten to experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I started out in music as a girl, and had a recording career as a girl. Mm-hmm. And then I went on into healthcare, and from that I traveled doing that. But I always wanted to be a writer, mm-hmm. and I've become a best-selling author, an international best-selling author, but been self-published. And then, because of my own health problems, became a patient expert and a blogger and a vlogger. I was blogging before there was a Facebook, folks. I've been blogging before there was a Facebook. And but then I started vlogging. And in the middle of all of that, working with people who had chronic pain and invisible illness and dealing with it myself, I started realizing that you really didn't make as much impact when you talked about the problem directly. But when you started bringing the stories of everyone, not focusing on just the people who had the issues, the fibromyalgia in my case, but when you talked about everyone and found the inspiration and motivation in just everyone, then that showed chronic pain and invisible illness people that they weren't alone.
Exactly.
And so
yeah.
I started something called Every Life is a Story. And it's been what I have enjoyed most out of all of my online experience now since 2002, I guess, or maybe before. So telling stories is what I've enjoyed the most. I've got a music background, I've got a writing background, I've got a blogging and vlogging background, but the telling the stories is what I've enjoyed the most. And I would get on planes with people sitting next to me, and they say, "What do you do?" I start with that. I'd say, "Well, I tell people stories, and I have a show. Every life is a story." And they'll say, "Well, my life's not a story." And I'd be like, "Oh," I'd always accept that challenge.
Right.
And I say, "Give me 2 minutes, start talking." And before they'd talk 30 seconds or 45 seconds, I'd interrupt them and say, "There's a show right there." And because there is no such thing as ordinary. Whether it's the artist that we're going to talk to, whether it's the singers, the songwriters, the musicians, or whether we end up talking to the literary people or the people who are on the Blues Trails markers for other reasons, or any of the trail markers, or the people coming here to discover it all. There is no ordinary person. Every person is extraordinary. And so that's my motivation with it, is to show, to get the extraordinariness of everyone out there. And so everyone can shine. And we all grow. We all benefit when that happens.
Exactly.
And what better way to do it than with showcasing Mississippi? Because Mississippi is a showcase for the world right now anyway. There's so much focus worldwide on Mississippi. And the blues music is a great place to start. So I'm thrilled to be telling the stories and starting with the blues and just emanating out from there. So that's my starting point, I suppose.
And I think that it's so interesting that both Meshea and I came out of medical profession. And that we both have this love for music, and so that's brought us together, which I think is so cool to have come from a similar background in that way. Now, I don't sing and I don't play the guitar. She sings and she plays the guitar, but I tried to be a musician, so I can't be one, but I can surely talk about them.
And you do a great job of talking about them too.
Thank you.
And so that is why we're doing this, folks, is we are just very passionate about sharing Mississippi with you, the music with you, the food, the arts, and all parts of it, and the people. And the people who are coming here. And that's our background and why we're interested in it. And so this is our first episode, and we want to thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here in our initial phase, and we hope that you'll keep going with us, because we plan to do some great interviews with musicians, but we plan to go to the markers and maybe show you a marker that you haven't gotten to see, or even to a food place, or we hope to even show you some segments of live music too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe we're going to have the opportunity to do that.
I think we are. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and you can reach out to us at this email address, htrprb@gmail.com. We'd love to hear any ideas you might have about what we're doing, or any suggestions about where we might go or someone we might interview.
As we are hitting the road in Mississippi.